away with anything. They can clearly harass a veteran, and then it becomes, "Oh." Count how many times it happens. Right? There's videotapes, so we can see how many times you glanced in my direction before you came toward me. We can see if you talked to them and said, go behind that person, and yeah, now. We can see all of that. Ugh. We can see also, just the level of stress as your fucking lips peel. I know. I'm fucking ugly as fuck right now, and I'm just way overstressed. And I have to spend all my money trying to get away from this situation. And thank you, Canada, for saying, no, no, no. You're an American. Go back and be abused. Go back and be abused. Yeah. So this is the result. I spoke with the police officer, and he says there's no crime here. Is it the same exact incident as the woman who decided to grab my genitals in a Long Beach bus? No. Is it the same incident as being sexually abused in the military, which sent me to the hospital? No. No, it isn't. And he had to agree. It's parallel. It's parallel, but the fact that it's organized and it keeps happening in public areas shows that there's a bigger problem here. It's an ADA problem, which is why I've been trying to reach out to the ADA for the Washington area, because this did most likely happen within Washington state. And we just haven't been able to connect yet. But this is a huge fucking issue. And I don't know what is going on with Washington state, because clearly there's a lack of messaging or a lack of education or something, that handicapped people are being harassed. I mean, this handicapped person's being harassed. I don't know if other handicapped people are being harassed. I don't really talk to many of them. But either way, he drew the conclusion of, you were probably reacting to it really strongly, and they decided, no, we don't want you on the train. And I respect that, because look, I was upset. The best thing to do was to take me off the train, because I was too upset to continue. I mean, honestly, my chest hurt, my arm was tingling, and just being on that train after being violated. And that's what that is, okay? It's not the same exact thing as having my genitals groped. But this particular incident was calculated. You know why I can tell it was calculated? Because it was the only time in my PTSD, outside of being sexually assaulted at Long Beach, where a woman went out of her way, really, to try and engage with me on a physical level. Which is why my PTSD just fucking kicked into high gear. Normally, my PTSD is like, I'm uncomfortable, I might go back to my room and cry. I might go back to my room and cry. But this was an instance of, oh, hell no. And yeah, I understand that police and train conductors and major companies don't normally deal with the black, oh, hell no. But they have to learn to respect that, because the oh, hell no means that there's something fucking off about this situation and we're just not going to stand for it. Or at least I'm not going to stand for it. It's like, I can still go to a lawyer and say, if you had followed ADA protocol and had an extra train attendant, that might have made things different. Or if you had said, you know what, we need to start having an extra private car for these kind of situations, because look, I'm a handicapped person. So if I was ever gonna travel again using this kind of company, I would have to use a private car, because I clearly cannot do public cars. I clearly cannot do public anything. My PTSD, thanks to Los Angeles, be severe, more severe than it ever has been. It's not just, yeah, you're getting older. It's, I've had to withstand women trying to break into my apartment. I've had to withstand women giving me a cell phone as an excuse to tell me that I'm pretty. I've had to deal with a woman saying, you know what, you're not paying attention to me. Let me grab your genitals. I've had to deal with that because of California. And the more this stuff happens, the more it becomes, you know what? That is disrespectful. And he said, I respect, what you've been through your service and everything. And I get that I have to be more resilient, but I'm just not going to put up with this kind of behavior, which is why, even though it was a stupid fucking kid that decided to touch my animal, my service animal, I still scream no at that fucking kid like a fucking banshee, because I want that kid to have it seared in. Oh, they're doing a task. The selfishness of this parent to just stand there and never even apologize to me, not even say, I'm sorry that I'm such a shitty parent. And you know what? I should be upset about that. I should, but then I have to be the bigger person. You say, when you see. I cannot resist. Um, when I think of this situation of this police officer saying, you gotta have a tougher skin, you gotta be more resilient, I say, yeah, but there's a this parent is scum of the earth for not paying attention to their fucking kid, not paying attention and saying, you know what, either my kid really wants a dog, or my kid doesn't understand the difference between a stranger's dog and a personal dog. And that's a big fucking, that's a seem to be smart. I seem to be smart. So I'm freaked out, because here I am, a handicapped person, just trying to pick up dog food. And this happened. But I want to be the bigger person here and say that there's bigger issues here. There's the issue of how tired and how exhausted. He used the word exhausted, and it's like, I am exhausted. But I understand that these parents are exhausted. I understand that there's all, and I don't want to give her an excuse. I really don't. I really this. Where is the company to say, damn, I think we actually have to hire more people. We can't just have a train going off and think everyone's going to behave or that there won't be any issues. Like, we're past that now. Like, I live in America, so unfortunately. So these kind of things are pretty commonplace. These incidents of people butting heads and whatever. So it almost makes sense. It's not what you want. It's not what I want. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's not what I want. I don't want to be on a train that has to have like the National Guard on it. But we're kind of headed that way anyway. And I think Amtrak and all these companies be that way because it's uncomfortable, but that's the way things are going to be if you live in these kind of areas. Today, person, tomorrow it could be someone just like fucking raped and dragged into the back room. Where are these fucking train attendants? That didn't happen in this case. But where are the train attendants? Because if there was a train attendant there, if by the way, the guy who showed me the badge, dude, why weren't you on the train to begin with? Things that I don't know. It's like, dude, your lips are peeling, you're ugly as fuck, but at least you're the only person who's saying we need to start having some conversations about what's going on in America beyond, your PTSD. But yeah, that is a fucking security concern. Today it's let me put my arm around you. Tomorrow it's can I grab a tit? Can I grab your crotch? Like, where is there someone to step in and say, "Ma'am, can I help you?" I don't know where to go from here except say there's something seriously effed up about America. Like, you can see on the fucking cameras, dude. If you told your child to go and pet my service animal, we can see that. If you coach them ahead of time, we can see that. They love to take veterans like myself, heroes, people who served, people who believe in this country even when they have every reason to turn their back on America forever. But they love to torture them and push them out of public areas, out of a lot of things. Some would say it's for their own safety. Citizen to suffer like I do, ever. What I've been through in my life, I wouldn't wish on anybody. Hurt you in a way that you'd never recover. Me freaking out on that train is because I didn't get up immediately and say, "Ma'am, where are you going?" My dog smelled this woman and smelled something off about her. I shouldn't have interfered. I shouldn't have done anything. But before she put her arm around me, I should have said, "What are you doing? Do you know where you are? Do you know who I am? Because I'm not related to you." But I said, "No, no, no. This is something that the police have to handle. This is something that the company, which I paid good fucking money to handle, should have handled. It's called business class, not get groped by the elderly class." She didn't grope me, she just put her arm around me. But like I said, I've had a history of old women getting frisky. Bunch of cougars. Ugh. Gross. Look, if the vagina was still Niagara Falls, someone might want to ski down that slope. I don't want to. I don't want to at all. Oh my god. Why is it always women? Why is it never a hot Italian? I don't know why I'm on about fucking Italian men right now. I would even take a fucking Czech, Slovakian hot man right now. But why isn't it never one of those who says, "Hey, hey"? I mean, look, I wouldn't be comfortable really with that situation, but it's never that. It's just horny old women. Now look at me. I'm the werewolf Paul Bunyan. What part of this is sexy? I have no idea. I mean, I literally smell like someone who hasn't bathed because I haven't bathed. So there's that. Be a pretty person because if I gave you an ounce of how goddamn just to get near me and buck, but before Tom Hardy, but in between Tom Hardy and Francois from Heated Rivalry. Ah, it's never any hot men. 5, 6 years have I've never had a fucking hot guy come up to me and be like, "Hey, hey." None of it. Just women banging on my door, trying the doorknob, trying to get in. No wonder why I just grew the beard and said, "Dude, keep going. Keep going." Look like there's a log cabin that follows behind you. Look like that. It's like, what can I do? Like, I bought makeup for myself because I said, I'm moving to a new area. Maybe I would, feel comfortable enough to be pretty. Wrong. I'm just doomed to be a werewolf, cursed into beast. But Beast had a fucking fantastic library, and I love to read. So maybe that's what life is going to be from now on. Maybe life isn't going to supermarkets. Maybe life isn't going to movies. Let's put that there. I'm speechless in a way that I cannot describe. I'm speechless because so much of the American experience is being a consumer, a customer. It's not community outreach. It's not community leader. They exhaust you so much that you become a passive participant in your own life. People would leave me alone long enough that I could be that community person, that community leader, that community guiding light that I know that these community sorry, I'm sorry. I know that these communities need. I know they need people to help out at a soup kitchen, redistribute canned goods, sit down and talk to people, make them feel heard and connect them with resources. True, I was kind of offered that as a job already, but that you feel is because you never take a break. Your brain never rests because it feels an unseen threat, an unseen danger. Sometimes it's each other. You can feel these things, you can sense them. Some of us, I guess, are developing that kind of ability in response. By the way, that's how evolution works. You got a certain gene and then it gets turned on because of need. So we kind of have to start expanding our definitions of what is and what is not possible. Telepathy is possible. Telepathy is used all the time. Or is it just surveillance when someone shows up to harass you at the exact time that you're there? Either way. Echo, how you doing, boy? He knows that I'm super upset and he's being there. Very lucky to have my service animals. Because no human would put up with this. In a way to come out the hotel that I was staying in when I was at Seattle and I see someone with security on their hat. My people are suffering. My country is suffering. I know for a fact that I could easily, maybe not Canada, because Canada's decided to hate anything American, including someone who loves them. And that hurts. And that hurts. But I know that I could go to the BBC and say, "What do you got for me?" Because I'm literally everything you need. I could do that, but my people need me here helping, being that person that says, maybe all the city resources, all of the food stamps and everything, it just isn't enough anymore. It's not enough. You need to find a place and a way of life that allows you peace. There's not something you can put a value on. It's not something. And if you find that that cannot be, and I'm being pushed in a certain direction, uh, I'm very upset about, but I have to be okay with. There's something wrong with America, and unless I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. to speak before the Senate as a politician, I'm not going to do it because I'm of the mindset now that I think you just want to be miserable. I think Americans don't want to be happy because being happy might mean that you let some things go. You let some of your riches go, you let some of your friends go, you maybe even have to walk away from your family. It's not an it's not an easy conversation to have. Try to avoid that one for obvious reasons. But that is the key to life. The key to life is saying what you will and will not accept. If you don't want to be miserable, you don't have to. If you don't want to be abused, you have every right to not be abused. In that kind of situation, nobody wants to be told, "Well, don't dress that way, don't do that, don't do this." Nobody wants to hear it. But then what are you going to do about it? You should always stand up for yourself, but make sure that you understand what you're dealing with, what you are carrying as a burden. I have PTSD. That's that's a part of me now. I'm never going to be okay. I'm never going to be okay to travel, really. I'm not going to be okay to be in public. The easy way around it is just be a star. Audition for things or just literally accept things that have been handed to you on a silver platter. No, no. I'm going to be that podcaster. I'm going to be that person who makes these little self journals that speak to people about being happy, and being happy is important. Your happiness is important. You want the ability to say that when you put your key in the door, You're going to a place where you feel welcome, you feel loved, and you feel safe. And if that's not where you live, or that's not where you landed or ended up, you got to find that place, because the people who live there, they don't care. I spoke to the manager, and I might as well have just been talking to air. I, I'm talking about the incident where, yet again, another kid touches my dog. But yes, he was going through his part, I was going through my part. I had to say on behalf to feel complete our transaction and then to leave. And he did his part of, well, of course, no one should bother a handicapped person or their prosthetics. There's nothing else to be said, because most likely you don't have people with prosthetics. You don't normally have a person with a wheelchair who says, you know what, I want to go browse the aisles. But that's their right. They have a right to do so without someone picking up their wheelchair and then shaking it. No. Did that happen in this particular case? No, because I screamed no. But does that happen to handicapped people in America? Yes, it does. So perhaps America needs to look at itself and realize that all you do is just ostracize handicapped people instead of embracing them into your culture. I have PTSD, but that doesn't mean that I can't give someone some canned goods. I was functioning in a soup kitchen up until the point where the manager of the soup kitchen says, like, you have beautiful eyes. And I was just like, I can't be there anymore. And for those who came into the channel and gave a like, I appreciate you. I appreciate every interaction, even the negative ones, because sometimes criticism is hard. But recognize that you have a voice too. You should start your own podcast. You should feel free to respond to people who make messages on social media. Be heard. Be part of the solution. My name is Ian Leona. I'm an environmentalist. I'm a mutant, a werewolf, superhero, normally. I'm a veteran with so I hope to see you on the next podcast. Channel so I can afford chopstick again. Thank goodness.